Sound check.
Here we go.
78.6 FM Yomaton. Positive vibes will win some. Still standing. You win some. You lose some. Podcast. I am here with my big brother, Mr. Scott Garricky. Can we do a quick sound check, Mr. G?
Hey, good morning.
Oh, yeah. He's there. He's with us. Hey, good morning, Mr. G. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Go. I'm good. I was just telling you, let me put these headphones on really good.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really good breakfast this morning. Woke up. I slept in today.
Yeah.
Because, we've been teaching hard all week.
Hard all week? That's right.
We've been teaching hard. So me and Joe ran the Airman Pez, my teammate over at the McDaniel Center this week. And then we had the coaching course going on. Then on top of that, we got ready for the mission support group leadership brief yesterday.
That's right.
So, I don't know if it's between that and possible sinus infection. Lost my voice.
But been doing a lot of talking.
A lot of talking. But, a lot of thinking and a lot of great feedback as well.
That's right.
And I got to see Big Brother yesterday. He stopped through. He always stops through to give us the hugs in the perfect time. We were in there, me and Joe, talking about different ways to attack, breaking down time management.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Okay, we could do this. We could stop talking this much. And it was really cool. You walked in right on time. We were like on the bridge and the cusp. And then when you left, we're like, I was thinking about something while he was here. Time management. Mr. G, what are we talking about today?
Hey, today we're going to go right back to Simon Sinek's book called Start With Why.
Start with why.
Start with why.
And I'm going to tell you why I asked to do this, Mr. G, and I love you. I really want to add this conversation to the podcast.
Oh, okay.
The last time we played it on the air was great conversation. We were throwing a thumb ball around last time, too. But I wanted to kick it off, really give us time to dig into it, questions. And again, we didn't practice this. Was, Mr. G does all the studying and research and comes in with the great questions. So I'm excited about that. Mr. G, this is my last Saturday for a few weeks.
Just for a few weeks, yeah.
Man.
You're going to be gone.
Get to go see my Minions.
Mm-hmm.
So I head out next weekend to go see the Minions, and they want to go on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to take the little ones on a cruise. So I'm really excited to get to spend their spring break with them.
That's nice.
And I was just telling Mr. G I had to make some interesting choices of how to get out of this island.
This is true.
The past week. Hey, before we kick off, I want to say thank you to, of course, Thumball.com, TrainersWarehouse.com, Remo, Okinawa, Free Period Press. I should have wrote that down. Free Period Press. I didn't want to forget you. I think I forgot Free Period Press 2 weeks ago. That is who sends us the self-care journals. So we hand them out to our mentees. So a wonderful opportunity to recognize those folks who, of course, show love for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Sending the thumbballs, the books, and just supporting all of our efforts. So thank you for supporting the show, the podcast, and, of course, tuning in. Mr. G.
Thumball is awesome.
The thumball is amazing. I used it yesterday.
Did you?
The MSG hadn't seen it.
Oh, no.
So I know Chief KC had seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
But the new colonel, she had never seen it. She was just all smiles.
Oh, good.
And you should have seen some of the answers. Like I think one of them was, what's something that's uncomfortable that everyone wants to try at least once?
Oh.
And one of our folks got that, leaders, and she was like, I don't know how to answer that. It was cool.
That's a hard question to answer.
That's it. Something discomforting that everyone should try at least once. Like, that's a weird question. But it's fun. So if you guys haven't thrown those around, go ahead and look at them, check them out online. If you want the link, shoot me an email or, hit me up and I'll send it to you.
Perfect.
That's trainerswarehouse.com. And they also have youthlight.com. Youthlight is for the younger generation, right? So it's questions, books, activities, and games that are tailored to younger versions of education. So Youthlight doing some amazing things out there as well. Mm-hmm. Big brother.
Okay.
Tell me about this book.
Well, hey, as I've read this book several times now, if you really get into it, everything can be start with the question why.
Facts.
Everything can start with the question why. Why did you get out of bed this morning, for instance? Why you brush your teeth?
Good question.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
You can either have it centered around yourself, like I don't want my teeth to fall out.
Right.
You can think about others and say, hey, look, I want to have fresh breath so that I don't breath somebody out.
Yep.
But you can go beyond that as well. It's like, why did you choose the career path that you did?
Like it.
Yep. Why did you start this radio show? And I'm going to ask that question for you. Why did you start this radio show?
Good question. For me, it was the journey that I was on 7 years ago, and always being the guest on someone else's show.
That's right.
And so going from being a guest on someone else's show, and then we got to Greenland, where I had the opportunity to run my own shows and then teach others how to do this. So I think that kind of really I was like, wow, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Going from a photojournalist to being a guest on shows to actually having my own radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I left Greenland, which was very bittersweet for me, I wanted to continue, and then the invitation over to AFN. So that was, I think, really exciting to continue on that journey. And the message, I wish I could have been on the other end of some of these messages. And I wish somebody would have said that to me when I started my journey.
There you go.
And some of the things I went through. So kind of giving that back has been what drives me.
So you see, that's your why. You're giving it back.
Yes, sir.
You are sharing your story, your experiences, your lifestyle, everything that you have gone through so far, you think can help somebody else.
Facts.
And that's your why. You know what I'm saying? So it's so important that you start with your why.
Facts.
You know? So it really is your motivation for what you're doing. It's very similar to the power of the word, another three-letter word.
Okay.
The three-letter word yet.
Got it.
See, I don't know how to learn that yet. I don't know what that means yet.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying?
That's kind of like what ties into fixed versus growth mindsets, right?
Exactly.
So growth mindsets, it's not, instead of saying, I can't fix this yet. I love it.
And so it's really what your why is, what is your it's what you believe, and it's what your foundation is, your values, your principles. It's what you believe based on your foundation of principles and values.
Got it.
Okay. So that's really that whole emphasis of what the why is. Okay. But people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? So oftentimes, people saying, hey, he's opening that door for somebody,
Right.
Is why is he doing it? They see what he's doing, but they don't know why. And when they know why, then they'll do the same thing.
Gotcha.
Then you're that leader who's inspiring others.
Gotcha.
Which is exactly what Simon Sinek is talking about. So if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, now that's another issue and entirely.
Right.
You must be clear about why your why is, because then if you don't know why you're doing something, how can you inspire or lead others
Facts.
to do something?
What do we say? How can you motivate someone else if you can't motivate yourself? If you don't know what your why is, how can you help someone else figure it out?
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Okay.
And here's another thing. Simon talks a lot about leadership in this book, and that's where we're going to go next. But some people aren't in a quote unquote leadership position.
Facts. Say it again, Mr. G.
They aren't. And John Maxwell will turn it right around on them.
Yeah.
And he'll say, you know what? No, you are a leader. Lead yourself.
Facts.
One of the hardest people to lead is yourself, right?
You can't even lead you. Like, we keep going back, right? So how can you motivate others? How can you help navigate others? And how can you lead others if you're not doing the same for yourself?
Exactly.
Let's go.
You know what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
Okay, so the book starts with a discussion on leadership.
Okay.
So in your there's a lot of things that go into it, but one of the things that I want to ask you is, what do you think is the essence of leadership?
The essence of leadership. Ooh, that's a really good question. Wow, I hadn't thought about that. The essence of leadership. I think we all need someone that we can follow. Which that's always when you have a path that maybe a team or a group or a community needs to go in, and no one's really directing traffic in that, then they're going to be aimless. So when you have someone that's taking lead or in a lead role, and that can be inspirational or just by the direction that they're moving, I think that's you kind of need that.
Yes.
In all those aspects. So, wow, the essence of leadership.
Essence of leadership.
I don't know how to really capture that.
It's really, you were describing it all, just exactly what you were saying. It's all about influence. Influence. How does that leader influence people to do what he's asking or she's asking them to do?
Got you.
Okay. So it's all about influence. And, Brother Cully, sorry.
I'll take it. Brother Cully.
Brother Cully.
That's me.
We were talking about this yesterday with Brother Joe.
Brother Joe. Let's go.
We were talking about that yesterday. And I listened to a podcast. He did a really, really great podcast the other day on, I think
servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
Yep.
Yes. And he was talking about how leadership is built on relationships.
Right.
And that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. And if you have that relationship built, the influence that you're going to have in leading that person and inspiring them to do what you need them to do or inspires them, that's the real essence of leadership.
Right.
That influence that you have built on the relationship that you have with that person.
I like that.
So, it's if you don't have that relationship, you can have what is known as positional authority, right? So positional authority is I'm a leader, I'm in a leadership position.
Right.
And you're going to do what I'm telling you to do.
Right.
And that's simply a transaction.
I got you.
At that point, it's basically manipulation of doing something because you're telling them what to do.
Because of the role I'm in,
That's
the position I have, you have to listen.
Exactly.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not what leaders should be doing.
Right.
They should be inspiring people.
That's right.
Okay, inspiring them through their actions, inspiring them through their experiences, like you've done in so many different venues.
Thank you.
Those type of leaders lead people because they're inspiring them. They're instilling loyalty in that person. Because unfortunately, a lot of the time manipulation is the norm.
Right.
Right. And we're just going through transactionals.
Right.
But if you are able to inspire a person by giving them a bigger picture and showing them how they fit into that, or giving a different perspective.
Right.
When you do that, you're inspiring somebody and you're building loyalty. You're
Gotcha.
building that loyalty. And that's really, really great.
Nice.
So the next thing that the book actually talks about is called the Golden Circle.
Okay.
Okay, the Golden Circle. And it's basically in the middle of the circle is your why.
Okay.
Because you start with why.
Right.
And the next circle out is your how.
Okay.
And then the final outside is your what.
Got you.
Okay. Most of the time, people see the what.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's just what we see.
Right.
We see that this shirt is colored blue and
Right.
orange, and it's the what.
Right.
And how it was put together is it was made in China probably. I don't know for sure, but it could be.
Right.
Either way, it was made a certain way in a factory. Okay, but the why? Why is this? Auburn University emblem on here.
Right.
It's because I wear this shirt proudly. I spent 4 years at this university. I have all these memories. And oh, by the way, I met Big Sis there.
That's right.
And we fell in love, and we've been together for 34 years.
Nice.
So I wear this because it's a memory.
Got you.
That's my why for wearing this shirt, And if you can relate that why, how, what circle you can do that for anything.
Got you.
Okay, so that's what he kind of explains there. Now, knowing Simon, and I've got a few seconds just before the break here. Basically, what he is, he's a salesman by trade.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so he looks at things from a salesman's perspective. And I'm going to read you what he. If you use the philosophy of why, you can change the way an ad is read. So the first thing Apple came out with, the Apple's computer, he says that this was their first ad. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. You want to buy one? Not so much.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't inspire you to buy
Right.
it.
This is a cute commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way he changes it around is he says, everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly.
Let's go.
And we happen to make great computers.
And we happen to make great computers. Did you see even the voice changed in that? The whole vibe of that commercial would be different, right?
Yeah.
So, what are you doing right now? You know, if you haven't thought about getting up and going to the store, don't walk by this aisle without seeing this beautiful computer. Wait, what? What computer? Let me see it.
Oh my God. I want to buy one.
Hey, 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winsome. We'll be right back after this break. .6 FM, Yomaton, Positive Vibes of Winsome. If you're watching on YouTube, I didn't even flip it off. You got to see Mr. G and I talking about the why and the upcoming vacation and some cool stuff, man. So, Mr. G, when we left off, we're talking about the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And really for a lot of us listening, right, as Mr. G said, you may not be in a position where you think you have to be a leader. But at the end of the day, you have to know how to lead yourself. And if you don't know that or you haven't championed that yet, this book gives you a lot of ways and a lot of different topics that will help you see yourself and your teams in a different way. Mr. G, where we leave off?
No, that's absolutely correct, brother. It's one of those things that, and if you don't know your why,
right,
we're going to go into it.
Let's go
in another session.
Let's go
because it's so important to find your why.
That's right.
But that's another time. What we're talking about now is how Simon explains that everything starts with why.
Okay.
And so that's the middle of your circle.
Gotcha.
And then the next outer layer is your how.
Okay.
Okay. And then finally your what. But the thing on it is the how is how I'm going to do my why.
Okay.
It's the actions that we take to fulfill our why.
Got you.
Okay. So how do we do that? How do you do anything?
Right.
How do you build a house? You have a
foundation.
A foundation built on somebody's
plan.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Some architect got together with a contractor and said, we're going to build this.
Yep.
Okay.
Or they came and said, hey, what would you like your house to look like? The floor, what do they call it? Floor plan.
Floor plan.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
And then you get some construction guys that know how to do it. They build it. And then finally, when it's done, you have the what?
That's it.
You have a home.
Okay.
So you see, that's how you have to have a plan. Okay. A plan or a why or a goal without a plan is what? It's a wish.
Just a wish. Yeah.
It's just a wish.
Yep.
You know, I listened to a guy that has a podcast. He says that it's a system. And that's an acronym.
Yeah.
Okay, a plan is a system.
Okay.
Something you stick to emphatically and methodically.
Okay.
System.
Okay.
Say something you stick to emphatically and methodically.
I like that little breakdown.
And so, like I said, the what is the result of all the how actions taken to realize your why.
The outcome.
The outcome. That's right. Now, take for instance. In the book, he gives an example of Ernest Shackleton. You know who Ernest Shackleton was?
No, who's that?
Okay, in 1914, Ernest Shackleton wanted to explore the Antarctic. Okay, and so if we were to go out and put out an ad, we'd probably put it on Monster or something like that, Indeed or something like that.
Right.
And it might go something like this. Men needed for expedition. Minimum 5 years experience. Must know how to hoist a mainsail. Come work for a fantastic captain.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to get you a few people,
Yeah,
right?
couple people.
Kind of people, but not the right fit for
Facts.
this mission.
Facts.
Okay?
Okay.
So the way he actually wrote his ad for this expedition,
Yeah.
here, listen to this.
Uh-oh.
Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. That's the way it came across.
Oh, wow.
So what kind of people do you think he got?
Probably desperate or the ones that say, I can do this and I need to do something.
They were risk takers.
Yeah.
They were people that were inspired by
the risk?
of the risk.
Ah.
See, they wanted to take that risk.
I'll get on there, Captain.
Yeah. I can do this.
So light wages. Oh, we say light wages.
Light wages.
Long periods of darkness.
Darkness.
Come on, man.
Return doubtful.
Return doubtful? Hey, I got it. Sign me up. Nah,
It's almost like remember Star Trek in the old days?
Oh, that's hilarious.
He said to explore new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man or no one has gone before.
Right. But you knew if you weren't one of the main characters going down on the ship, and you knew, hey, man, I'm not going to make it back. So let me go ahead and call my family. It would be Spock, Kirk, what was the doctor's name?
Oh, McCoy. Bones.
And then Jenkins. Nobody heard of Jenkins before.
That's right. He's the red shirt guy. The red shirt guy's always got it.
Jenkins never made it back.
He never made it
he
back.
got ate by a dinosaur one episode.
Okay. Got zapped in another one.
Yeah, he melted. It was crazy.
He was gone. But compare that to what Shackleton's expedition. Everybody came back.
Nice.
They got stuck in the ice for months.
Wow.
And then they eventually had to send out a party and across 800 miles of rough oceans. And they finally got to the land. They came back and rescued everybody.
That's dope.
And it was because the right people, the right kind of people were there.
That
There
makes
was
sense.
no mutiny. There was no whiners.
Yeah.
There was no cannibalism.
They knew what they were signing up for.
Yes.
I like it.
And the reason why is because of the way he worded his advertisement for his hiring. And so that's the kind of thing he got up.
Okay.
So he got the right kind of people. Another aspect that Simon brings out is a leader has to have followers, obviously.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Other than yourself, you're following yourself. But going beyond that superficial statement, okay, it talks about how leaders need to lead. Okay, how are leaders supposed to lead? One of the things that Shackleton did with his expedition, or any good leader does, is he creates an environment where people belong to each other, belong to the organization. And if you're belonging, you feel more like a family.
Right.
Okay? And that way, when you have family members that belong, there's an element of trust that comes into play. I trust you because we've been together. We've shared a vulnerability with each other.
Right.
And I trust you.
There it is.
Okay?
Yep.
And that's what leaders need to really do. They're not necessarily put in that place to come up with new ideas. They have ideas, okay, got it. But what leaders really need to do is create an environment where people are free to come up with those ideas.
Facts.
Free to take risks.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they call it psychological safety.
There you go.
So they feel like their ideas are wanted and wanted instead of, I don't even want to talk to that guy with this idea because he's going to shut it down every time.
Exactly.
That's the opposite, right? Okay.
Andy Stanley, that reminds me of a quote that Andy Stanley has. He says, leaders that don't listen will soon find themselves surrounded by people who have not a lot to say or nothing to say. Okay?
Because they don't want to talk to you about it.
They don't want to talk to you.
Nice.
So leaders have to listen.
Yeah.
And they have to build that trust amongst the players so that when they do take a risk, sometimes it fails.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if that leader doesn't back them up or protect them, if they don't have their back, then they're not going to trust their leader very much.
Right.
Especially, nowadays, people go talking about this, that, or the other. They throw each other under the bus.
Yep.
And that's not right. That's not the way to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
that's the aspect that Simon was trying to bring out in how leaders should create that environment and where people are inspired to take risks.
Got you.
So
I think that's important. I don't think people realize how important it is for a team that you work with, even if you're not the leader, you may be in a leadership position or role, but to be open to listening and trying ideas from other angles. Even if you already had your mind made up of what you're going to do. This is what I want to do. This is how I see us getting there. When you welcome those ideas and you explore it, you actually learn more about the talent around you as well. Because some people have some ideas, you be like, wow, I would have never thought of, in a year from now, I wouldn't have thought about that. And it just makes the whole project or projects just so much better.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So, that's the kind of thing that, inspires a lot of people. It makes them think differently. And leaders sometimes they need to draw that person back in because there's a limitation or something that they didn't know about.
I do it all the time with Mrs. G. I have 1,000 ideas, 1,000 different things I want to do with our shop, and I'm like, Mrs. G, okay, look, just a sanity check. So it would be 6 in the morning like yesterday. I have something in mind.
That was.
Mrs. G, this is what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. We can do this.
But yes, I love it. And folks are innovative. Like the one young lady we got for our NCOIC.
Yeah.
We don't bother her because we know she's creative. She's innovative. And what she's doing is a vision not just for our level of leadership, but also she's trying to think of it from the young airmen that come in our doors.
Yes.
What they would want to see versus what we want to see. We're not, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not projecting onto them what we want. We're trying to figure out what they want.
And draw it out of them,
Facts.
right? Yeah,
Facts.
Exactly. And if you can get that kind of conversation started where people, you build synergy among the group and they build upon each other and then they start thinking outside of the confines of their own experiences.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Feedback is everything. All right. Sorry.
Feedback is so important.
Sorry, I got excited.
That's okay. So I know that we've just got a little bit before the break, but one of the things that Simon talks about next in his book or in the book, he talks a lot about one of the challenges of your why.
Okay.
The biggest challenge to your why is success. Okay. And the reason why is because, well, let me ask you, why would success be a challenge? Do you know?
Success is something that we have as a goal?
As a goal, as your why.
Some people might get stuck there. And they don't see what can happen next or build on it. They just kind of get stuck in, I'm successful here. You see that with a lot of musicians or artists. They get to that point, but then they start realizing they're not really fulfilled because there's so much more they could have did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in that position and they're now stuck. And it's just one of those things that they do over and over again, but they've lost their why.
Right.
They became unfocused, right? And when you do that, success oftentimes will do that because you're saying, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm done. So you're just going to put it on, automatic.
Yep.
Rinse, repeat. Right. Wash, rinse, repeat.
I like it like the NBA players, and we got like 30 seconds left, but the NBA players, like they realize that there's so much more than just being a basketball player.
Yes.
So they're exploring those other things. I'm successful in basketball. I can be a championship player, but there's other things I can do with my energy, time, and to help others. So
exactly.
I love that when I see it. Mr. G, we're talking about Start With Why, 78.6 FM Yomaton. Positive vibes will win some. And, of course, this is one of my favorite parts of the month because I gave my big brother, Mr. G, in here. So we're going to come back right after this break to speak more about Start With Why.
End it with what Simon had.
Let's go.
So yeah,
I'm down.
Okay.
30 seconds. .6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. We're also playing this on the Still Standing, You Win Some, You Lose Some podcast. I'm excited because this is the second episode that I get to have Big Brother Mr. G on. Because you were there, we did Boundaries.
That's right, Boundaries.
Yes, so if you guys haven't heard the Boundaries episode with Mr. G, this is a 3-parter. One was in here solo, one was in AFN, and one was with Mr. G. And we really hit home, like all the aspects of Boundaries.
Yeah, Boundaries.
We want to do the same. Start with why. So, Mr. G, if I can do a quick wrap up and check me anywhere I go off course, okay?
Okay.
So being able to lead, you got to start with your why, meaning you have to know why you do what you do. And,
yes.
And if you're leading or coming from a different perspective, how to direct and navigate traffic for yourself, you have to really know why you do what you do for you. Mm-hmm. And then you go to the how.
That's right.
And then this is why I do what I do. This is why I want to be on the radio.
Right.
How do I do it, right? And then what are those steps you take to get to having a radio show, being invited to speak, and having a podcast? What are those steps you took to get there, right? But your why is still driving that. Mm-hmm. So that drives you to your how, and then your how leads to what? And the what is the outcome? Mm-hmm. What are you playing with right now? So let's go back. We talked about it. Mr. G said I had a little bit of free time to play with on this. So Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Wanted to be in the NBA. I love Michael Jordan stories.
Love Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan was shut down in high school and told that he wasn't going to make the team. Ends up going to UNC and being a superstar, and then ends up being on Chicago Bulls as a superstar.
Yeah.
Only left the Bulls for 2 seasons, I think, with the Wizards, right after he retired and came back. But what drove MJ initially was, being told I'm not good enough. Mm. Imagine that. Michael Jordan, I call him the greatest of all time, was told that he was not good enough. And I believe in his Hall of Fame speech, Big Brother, he even called out that coach.
Oh, my goodness.
So his retirement speech. Hey, but not in the bad way, more in the look where I'm at now. Yeah. You're the one that told me I wasn't good enough. But every season, every year, and every game, he would find someone as a reference of, we're going to win this game because you just gave me energy. That was his why. We're winning this game because that dude just set me off. So we're going, I'm going to score 72 points. How? He scored 72 points, and he was passing and getting his teammates involved in the game.
They had a plan. They had game plan, right?
What was the outcome of all of this? Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time.
It's a win.
And he's a beast, right? And his what do you call that? His record and resume speaks for itself.
Yep.
MJ wasn't just, and Mr. G hit this point before the break, he didn't just stop there. He was a philanthropist. He was a businessman. He was, Nike. He changed the face of Nike.
Yes, he did.
While he was doing this, playing just from being an amazing athlete, he changed the face of Nike. Had his own shoe brand. That's going to be a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Air Jordan. And so his own brand, which is a sub brand of Nike, which is his. So all of these things happen based on his original why. You tell me I'm not good enough, I'm going to show you I'm not only good enough, but I'm the best.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So did I cover that down pretty?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely correct. It reminds me of this guy who was an editor of a newspaper, and one of the owners ended up saying, "Hey, you're not really creative with your newspaper."
Wow.
And he was shut down basically.
Wow.
And so the guy said, "Okay, fine." And he went out to California, went down to Hollywood, and he got a job working in the movie industry.
Okay.
And he ended up making the first animated movie. And the first animated movie starred this mouse with these big ears on it.
Interesting.
And the guy's name was Walt Disney.
Interesting.
And he was fired from this editor's job because he wasn't creative enough.
Hey, Walt, I hate to tell you this, man, but you don't have enough imagination for this newspaper.
And he didn't.
I love those stories and stories like that because no matter where you are, there's going to be times where you're told that you're not good enough or that you can't.
That's right.
And if you switch that flip that switch and then you let that drive you versus discourage you, it's incredible where that can take you.
Oh, yeah.
And I love you for that. Thank you for sharing that part. And I forgot about Walt Disney's story. Yes. And look what Disney's doing now. All right, 78.6 FM, Young with Time, Positive Vibes of Winsome, and Mr. G talking about Start With Why. Mr. G, where we leave off at?
Okay, so where we left off at was one of the challenges to our why, and that was success.
Okay.
So Simon goes into his book, and he talks about Sam Walton. You know who Sam Walton is, right?
I think you mentioned Walmart.
Let's
go.
You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Sam Walton, he had his why. Okay. He wanted to serve.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll tell you that in a second. But basically, he started with one store. Okay. A single store that is now 11,700. Okay. He's in 28 different countries.
Wow.
And when the book was originally written in 2009, the annual profits were $44 billion.
Oh, wow.
Now I looked it up today.
Yeah.
And it's $600 billion, okay, annually.
Dang.
Used to be they only had 40 million shoppers per week.
Yeah.
Now they have 240 million shoppers a week.
Wow.
Okay. And it is the largest company by revenue in the world.
Wow.
In the world. So he built this, and he believed that if Walmart could give back to their customers, give back to their employees, and give back to their communities, that they would build what? They would build
relationships. That's right.
Exactly.
See how excited I got when I got it right? A big smile. Let's go.
He wanted to serve.
Okay.
And he wanted his company to serve others. Okay. And that's what happened. So, but Simon also mentions that when he died, his why was not translated very well to the successors.
Okay.
Okay. And the company took a dip. And manipulation became the norm. As I said before, when you don't inspire, as a leader, you're basically just a transactional thing, and it's manipulation that gets people in. And when they did that, the instead of being a serving company, it became a company known for cheap, you know, and not very very well regarded.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So. But over the last 14 years since this book was written, obviously there's something that came wrong because
some changed.
Some changed. They got their why back, I think, because they are definitely doing really, really well. So,
and it's a name thing too, right?
Yeah.
When you think about where you're going to go, you also start drawing comparisons.
Exactly.
I couldn't tell you what Walmart's mission is,
right,
or was, or anything. Or excuse me, Target,
right.
But I know that's the competitor for Walmart. But I can't tell you they're also more expensive when I go.
Yeah. No, yeah. That is for sure. That is for sure. So, you know, it's just one of those things where we have to be very, very careful about losing our why. Because when we lose our why, what kind of things happen if we lose our why?
We start becoming aimless. We probably get frustrated. And then we'll probably just lose motivation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly it. We're wasting our time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the one thing that we have in this world that is irreplaceable.
Right.
This moment right now is irreplaceable.
Yep.
You know, and so if we don't know what our why is, then we become unfocused, and we're just simply wasting our time. And Simon, you know, basically when he was figuring out his why, you know, he basically discovered that his why was to inspire people to do things that inspire them. So he was basically his why is helping other people, and that's just what that's one of the things that is prevalent throughout all leadership. It's how are you helping others?
Gotcha.
You know, that's always been my philosophy. It's not about me finishing first or me being there at the finish line.
Right.
It's how many people did I bring along?
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? It's how many people are you able to inspire and build up and give them the opportunities that help them grow and help them achieve their why. And so that's what Simon was doing. And basically his whole aspect is if you are able to inspire others to do the things that inspire them, then you're going to change the world. That's what his impact was going to be. And he needed to build a plan.
Yeah.
So he's done that. He's structured his why so that he basically has that purpose built in.
Got you.
And it's structured. He has that plan.
Yeah.
Something you stick to emphatically and methodically.
Let's go, system.
A system.
Yeah.
He has that system. And so, but one of the things that he finally ends up in the book at, and this is so important, you've talked about this before too, is that the why has to be clear.
Yeah.
And you have to take time to reflect.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
You've always said that, usually at the end of the year or at certain times that you go out and you sit and reflect.
That's right.
On the things that have occurred,
Right.
things that you want to do,
Right.
and so forth. Reflection is huge when it comes to keeping your why clear. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you just have to think about it a lot. So
And you can visualize it.
yeah.
And you sometimes, like you said, Mr. G, what happens when you don't have a why is you don't want to go along with the plan because the plan doesn't really fire you up or light you up.
Right.
You forget about how important it was when you wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the reflection, and I love you, Mr. G, for mentioning that. The lighthouse is my reflection point. That if I see you at the lighthouse and I'm coming, you better get down because it's my turn. I'm kidding. But the lighthouse is my reflection spot. So I go up there and I can be up there for hours until I got my thoughts together. I spoke to the leaders yesterday and I told them there was a class I was teaching. And I had so much in my mind, Mr. G, you probably remember this day. I was leaving for senior NCOA. They were throwing a surprise party for me for putting on senior.
That's right.
And I knew about it, but I was like scrambling that day. Plus, I had to teach EQ, my favorite class, emotional intelligence. And I had some really cool people in the room. But because my mind was all over the place, I kind of forgot how excited it is or excited I am in the classroom teaching. How important that class was to me and how wonderful these opportunities are.
Yes.
It was just so much going on at one time I couldn't recenter. So I remember the class didn't have the impact it normally did. I was kind of resentful for everything because I just couldn't bring things back to focus. So when I got on the plane, let's get to that point. I got on the plane, everything started slowing down again.
Oh.
I'm able to think. I'm able to reflect on, man, that's actually really amazing things that people just did on the way out the door. But I couldn't really appreciate it because I'm moving so fast.
Right.
And I know you can move, Winston, but can you be still?
There you go.
And that's what made me do it. Sitting down, that long flight back to the U.S. to beautiful Gunter, Alabama, to think about everything that just happened. And then to come back with new energy.
That's right.
So sometimes that's starting backwards to go forwards, kind of resetting and saying, okay, let me try this again. It's important.
One of the things, and you just mentioned this, and I think it's a lost skill that we really need to bring back, and is just being able to sit with yourself.
Facts.
And just, you can call it meditation, you can call it whatever, but clearing your head.
Say it again, Mrs. G.
Clear your head.
Yes. Get all the clutter out of there.
Get all the clutter out of there.
Yes.
Just sit still with yourself. Think about how you're breathing. Think about the sensations that you're feeling at that point in time, your hand on the desk or whatever it is. But don't think about anything.
Block out the noise.
Block out the noise.
Y'all, this is why I love Mr. G. Y'all didn't see that coming, did you? You can just be peace with yourself, block out the noise, get rid of the clutter, and just take everything in for what you have right now in that moment.
That's it.
Mr. G, get out of here
That's
with that.
it.
Don't fire me up with a minute left. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winston. If you guys didn't just hear, this is Mr. G's way of telling me that we need to spend some time on mindfulness moving forward. So we're going to cover, what's the next book, Mr. G?
It's going to be Find Your Why.
Find Your Why. So if you didn't catch that, Start with Why by Simon Sinek was today's discussion. We're going to come back and talk about Find Your Why, another book by Simon Sinek. And then we're going to peel over into self-awareness, mindfulness. Me and Mr. G about to get into it.
Yeah.
It's over now. He opened the door. Y'all seen it. I didn't even know it was there. I just knocked and it was the mindfulness
Here
door.
we go.
Hey, 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes, Positive Vibes with Mr. G and Winston today. Mr. G, I love you, big brother.
Love you too, brother.
Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't rather be anywhere else than in the booth with him today. And guess where I'm going after this, Mr. G?
Where are you going?
I'm going to the lighthouse.
Hey.
It's a little chilly out there, but I'll make it
it
work. Hey, guys, thank you for listening in. You are loved, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. See you next week.
Awesome. Let's go. Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Thanks, big brother.
That is awesome. That was perfect.
Oh, man.
I didn't even want to get all into that because that stillness and meditation.
Man.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh, let's go to some of this. Let's go to some of
That's
this.
a whole conversation.
It is. It is, brother.
That's coming up.
Yes,
All right,
it
now we know what's
is.
next.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And we could easily roll that into